Welcome
to the Bring Me to Life podcast.
It's time to wake up
and shine on.
Thank you all for waking up and shining on with us. And when I say us, I mean myself and Shannon Shine.
Hello, beautiful humans. Thanks for tuning in and being here for the Bring Me to Life podcast. I'm excited for this episode.
Me as well. It is the holiday season as we are recording this. Hello to everybody listening not on December 1st. Thank you for listening as well.
What up, time travelers? Thanks for being here too.
Yeah, definitely. So for us in this moment, it's December 1st, and it's the beginning of, a major holiday season for a lot of us.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting holiday season. We just had Thanksgiving and the typical commerce weekends, and it was different for many people. Many families had to rethink their traditional plans to stay safe from COVID. I know personally my family didn't get together. There was a lot of different people that just needed to isolate for the safety of all. So, it's going to be an interesting year as we go into the holidays. But I think that there's a few important things to think about.
There are some important things to think about. And also, we've been talking a lot on the podcast about divine expression and about creativity. And it brings together this kind of bridge between being creative during the holidays.
Yeah, I think that it's important to remember that the holidays aren't always about the commerce aspect of it. People love to give things and receive things during this holiday season. And I'm an artist. I love creating things, and the idea of knowing that people all over the place, really, the world, are receiving gifts and things that I've made. But in the same respect, I think it's important for people to channel what it is they can do to show up this holiday season and spread some joy, because as we were saying, this year's been so difficult for so many that Spirit needs us to show up and channel that divinity this season, because it's also about the spiritual aspect. And there's a lot of different religious threads through the holiday season. And I think that's where a lot of people's spirituality gets stirred up too.
Mm-hmm. It does get stirred up easily, and that's part of being a human. But that's why we are here creating a space that's more open for everybody to have their own belief system. And, we've found a lot of people who respect that within everybody. And so I think that's really important to remember during this time. Everybody's really kind of sensitive with everything. But like you said, this is a good time to get deeper into our spirituality, into our relationship and connection to the divine. And, being creative, they say, is our gift back to the divine for, having the gift of life.
Yeah, channeling our creativity is part of us showing up as beings here. As spiritual entities, we give ourselves these physical bodies so that we can just experience Earth in a different way, and to create ideas and opportunities for each other to witness and experience too, which is, again, why I love being an artist and creating things at this time of year.
And there's so many things that you can create, and I'm talking about all kinds of things. Cookies, I
made some cookies today.
That's food. Culinary art is an art, and being creative, that's included with making food, with making whatever you make during the holidays. There's so many traditions.
Well, you can also just creatively write as well too. Like, maybe you don't want to invest in material objects. Invest a little bit of your time and creatively channel a message that will help inspire somebody or brighten somebody's day. I actually really kind of miss the act of Christmas cards. I think that was a thing that was interesting. I know we have social media now, so people just wish each other Merry Christmas on the social medias. But
Mm-hmm.
I used to get really excited as a kid when somebody would send me a card and they wrote me a message. And I actually keep most of my cards in like a keepsake box if there's like a sentimental thing there, because it took something for that person to sit down and write me a message that cared. They didn't just write from their name, like
Mm-hmm.
put a little
Well,
meaning into your showing up in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that is very special. And even just sending a card in general is like really special these days. That's why they call it snail mail, because it's just so easy to send a gift. And it takes a little bit more energy to print something out and put it in an envelope. But that's what makes it more special.
I'm just thinking, I was like, I don't know if I print out the cards. I make cards.
Whatever you got to do.
Collect cards. But what I'm saying is like, and I'm guilty of it too, where I collect like a stack of cards and I just like write my name real quick on a bunch of them because I'm sending them out to a bunch of people. But it's nice to get a card where somebody channeled their divine message for you.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking if I ended up seeing my family this year, giving them a gift of a photo of me and them together, and then maybe writing out a moment or two or even 3 of some favorite, fondest memories with them.
Yeah, there's a lot of different creative things you can do to just show the people out there that you love them. And I thought this would be a good topic for the episode too, because I know a lot of my creative friends are gearing up for the holidays, and I just did the big full moon release of really neat jewelry I'm really excited about.
Those were beautiful creations you had there.
Yeah, and it was really empowering to take some time and really create something I was proud of. I was creating a lot of different things there for a while, and I almost burnt myself out. And then I took a little break, and I did my soul journey offering. I put that together, and that just completed this week as well. So it's like, it's a powerful cycle that I think a lot of people are feeling right now, where so many people were burnt out and just like overwhelmed with everything. But there's a little bit of excitement back in the world with the holidays too.
Yeah.
Like, as much as there's angst and like uncertainty of what's to come, I feel like a lot of people are getting excited to just have something to look forward to.
Definitely. I like how you said you were feeling burnt out and you have these big burns on your hands.
Man, I went all out for Thanksgiving dinner, guys. So like I said, my family typically gets together, and it's like one of the times that we look forward to because we don't get together a whole lot. But this year, the 4 or 5 families actually that typically get together, they all stayed home, which was probably the best call we could have had. But I knew that my immediate family, they weren't going to have a dinner. And I felt like part of my giving back, like Sila said, was cooking and putting love. And I made a little card, and we drew little like cartoons on it like we would have if we were kids, but it just said like, if you can't have a meal with people you love, you should have a meal made with love. And that was like, it just seemed like it channeled through me, and it was like what I was supposed to do. And I almost felt like I was connecting with my grandma's energy really powerfully, and just like asking spirit, like, what would I want somebody to do for me in this time? If I was the one sick and I couldn't cook for my family, I'd be really grateful if somebody showed up with food. So we went for it, and I got about 7 burns on my hands right now from from the adventure, because I don't do things small. I usually go big.
But they're healing.
Yeah, they're healing.
And so you're not feeling as burnt. You're feeling more energized.
It definitely felt burnout there.
Like
for
you're
a while.
adding, maybe, the fire burnt out, and now you're adding more logs and getting ready for the next fire.
I think doing something for other people gave me some fuel again, because I kind of was staying home a lot, and like I'm working from home and doing sessions and connecting with all you beautiful people, but at the same time, like, I felt kind of disconnected from humans, and doing something for other people just brought me some joy again.
Yep. And it's easy to feel disconnected during the COVID.
Yeah, it's weird because like there's so many people that are taking it super seriously and so many people that aren't. that I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle where I'm like taking it seriously, but I also want to experience life, but I don't want to risk other people's experience either. And it just happens to be that my industry, you know, as an artist, your industry is a spiritual leader and stuff too. It's like it's slowed down on the traveling front, and we're all virtual right now showing up with you guys. So we're getting creative with how we channel and express ourselves as well.
Yes. With this kind of like stay-at-home energy, where we're all at home more often nowadays. It's a really, opportune time to get creative, because I feel like if you don't have anything to do, that, your life gets shaken up. You can't do the things that you're used to, like go to the gym, go, wherever. It's important to find more productive things to do, because I know sometimes I'll sit there and I'll just kind of overanalyze a lot of things and just go in like a cycle.
Start doom scrolling, where I find myself just scrolling and reading the same things I've read, and I'm like, why waste my time doing this? Yeah. I get really excited when I am able to just go to my studio. Part of the reason this podcast, like we're doing live podcasts right now, let me tell you, a lot of them are late because I'm usually making something, whether I'm making food or I'm making art or I'm making plans, who knows, but
do your best.
I really enjoy the process of getting in a studio or getting in a messy corner wherever you can keep your creative supplies and just letting yourself do the things. Like I was making some amulets. That's one of the things I just released on shadasticshine.com. I'm going to do some shameless plugs here because we're talking about handmade things.
Shameless plugs, some creations you are creating.
And it was just really fun to like sit down and get all the different crystals out and to find the flashiest ones and to arrange them and to imagine the joy that it was going to give somebody to receive that item, whether they got it for themselves or whether they got it as a gift or whether I gifted to them, like it's exciting to create something to be witnessed in the world. The same thing with my paint, to see a blank canvas, or maybe even a canvas I've already painted layers upon layers on, and to transform it into a different world, and to just let yourself just let go and get messy and not be afraid if it's not very good. I work with a lot of people trying to open their creative process, and a lot of them get really excited when they can unlock it. But I found that the biggest blocks is that they think everything they do has to be good. They think everything they create has to be perfect. And that's, I think, where the saying too, like it's the thought that counts is really important, because, like you have to start somewhere, you have to try. And, if you want to make something for yourself or for someone else, or just because, you have to start somewhere. And I think kind of sitting with yourself and channeling that and asking spirit, like, okay, if I'm going to do this thing, what can I do? It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be a stick figure. It could be a 2-sentence letter, like it doesn't have to be pages long. Just, hi, I was thinking of you. I hope you're doing well. I'm sending you love. Like that little bit goes a long way.
Yeah. Sometimes we personally, me too, we kind of compare our level 1 artistry as we just start getting into it. We kind of compare that to something people have been working on for years, for lifetimes, and so that can kind of overwhelm us. But I think it's helpful to give ourselves permission to be a bad artist, to write something that might suck or that might not, be the best thing for you. Give yourself permission to do that, because each time you're going to get a little better, and eventually with, practice, with time and energy invested, then you get to that place where it becomes easier to create something from thought to reality.
I feel like I had a couple of thoughts pop up while you were speaking.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, and while you're thinking about that, if you had some favorite creations that you've made during the holidays, or even that that you've received during the holidays.
give me a second to just kind of think on all the things you said. One of the things is you mentioned like just allowing yourself, and it's okay because some people have been working years on it. One of my co-creators that participated in my soul journey, she commented on my jewelry today, and she said, we can see your transformation and your growth through your art and what you decide to create at that time, or like the shine of the different art. And like sometimes you start out and you might not be the best. Maybe you're not doing well emotionally and you just need to channel out some messy art. It doesn't need to be perfect. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
And
it can feel good sometimes to let go of those expectations or trying to be perfect.
Yeah, just release the idea that perfect exists, because it doesn't really.
Yeah.
It doesn't really.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to like create something and then destroy it.
That was a part of a Christmas movie we just watched.
Yeah. What was it called? Lily?
Dash and Lily. It's like this ridiculously cute little Netflix Hallmark-like series, and it was adorable.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you asked me some things that I've created. So, you mean like for other people or things recently I've created, or what?
Anything like that? Like I was asking mainly anything that's stuck in your mind, something that you're just like, wow, this is awesome, or like something that you created that you felt really good about that you were able to give someone.
One time I made my grandma this blanket out of t-shirts and shirts that my pap had after he passed away, and it made her so happy. So that was just something like I just recycled shirts that she didn't know what to do with, that she felt were sentimental to her, and just sewed them all together. And I was not good at sewing, and she was a master seamstress. So looking back at it was just the idea that I tried, going back to that concept of like, you know, like she could have totally made a super nice quilt out of them, but she let me have them and I went for it. And I still have it. I was probably like 12 or 13.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you don't expect you know, a super fancy blanket from someone that young.
Yeah, I mean, I was in high school, so I wasn't very old.
You were in high school when you were 12 or 13?
I'm trying to think.
Dang. I was like 14, 15, 16, 17.
How old are people when they're like freshmen?
Like 14, 15.
Okay, so I was probably that old when I made it then. I've been making things for my family for as long as I can remember. Like, I remember they used to have those little kid, like, Santa things at school. And one, I always was like, well, I don't want to like, get any of those things. But for a lot of it, like, I didn't have the money. Like, my parents didn't send me with money to go to the Secret Santas. And I would just daydream of things I could make. So I would make things out of, like, popsicle sticks. And I would paint rocks and just, like, make whatever, because though they didn't give me money to buy them things at the Secret Santa things, they would find ways to give me something, and I wanted to give them something. So I would make sure I found a way. So, I mean, it was probably sewing something at 12 or 13. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Pillows, or I used to make wall hangings. But that blanket, I still have the blanket. So that's why it stuck out to me. I can actually kind of see it from here. I have it in my little family memorial space. And, you know, like, things like that, it didn't cost me anything. I had a sewing machine. It was just old shirts, but it meant a lot. And it'll probably mean a lot to me for the rest of forever, because I got to inherit it back.
Yeah. Can I share one of mine?
Definitely.
I made my sister one time into a tiger person. With a painting, I used acrylic paint, and I grabbed one of her photos, and I think I did a freehand where I just kind of like tried to copy that picture into a painting, and it turned out better than I would have imagined. You know, when I started, I was like, all right, this is actually not too bad. But I gave it to her, and she seemed really excited about it, and it just felt good, you know, and putting time into something, because it takes a while to make a painting, you know, it takes a while to do something like that. So it felt more special, I guess.
Yeah, it means a lot too when you see people that appreciate it too. I know that some people don't always appreciate handmade gifts, but I think it's really beautiful. That same sister, once I made her this cool wall hanging for Christmas, and I wasn't sure if she enjoyed it. And then the next time we went to visit her, she had it hanging in her window, and it was like the first thing we saw when we pulled up to that house. So it's like such a cool feeling on both sides to like know somebody enjoyed something that you put energy into.
Absolutely. And that's part of the spirit of this whole thing, you know, for me at least, is just that feeling of people being willing to give and receive, because both of them are really important, and finding a good balance with that is good.
Yeah. I just thought it would be good to talk about the concept of creating things so that people didn't feel so overwhelmed with the commerce concept of the holidays. We just had Black Friday, Shop Smell Saturday, Cyber Monday. Today's Giving Tuesday. It is a good idea to give to nonprofits and communities that you believe in. I supported some accessible festivals nonprofit today and a couple others. That was they're in charge of Inclusion Festival, which we're a part of, so that was nice. I was glad to see they had something I could support. And yeah, so it's like it's almost better to give to different communities and things that you want to see thrive in this day and age of craziness, because they can't host the same events and things. So if we want to see them still existing when we come back to, it's less important to invest in like overwhelming kind of things that won't matter in a couple of years. But right now we need to just invest in each other and our souls and our spirit and positivity and giving back what we can do.
Yes. Had that high note right there. I am feeling good hitting those notes. So we do have a solar flare update for you, which I'm really excited about because something special happened. And we have a reading that you will be doing, correct? And then that will end the episode. But I just want to make sure that we have dived in as much as you would like to before we get into any of that.
Yeah, I think the only other thing on my list is to mention that we just had a full moon eclipse, but I can talk about that after your solar flare.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Let's take a quick break, drink some water, and we will be right back with our energy update. So I said I was excited because we had our first M-class flare in a long time, which is a moderate-sized flare. Recently, we've had a lot of common flares, and in November, we actually had only 2 days out of November where there was not any solar flares. And anybody who's been listening to these solar flare updates for a while, just a few months ago, there were no solar flares happening at all. So, like I had mentioned in some of those episodes, we are in the beginning stages of a new solar cycle, meaning that these next few years, the sun will continue to rev up in activity, and the solar flares will continue to get bigger. And what that means, I believe, in our consciousness is that our consciousness is kind of reawakening to things. So our big M-class flare, I say big, but like I said, it's moderate. It happened on Saturday, and it is expected to hit Earth either tonight or tomorrow at some time, but there is not a high chance that it will hit, and if it does hit, it's on the edge of our magnetic sphere, so there may be a few things happening, some auroras, but nothing really to be too scared about. Solar flares happen all the time, and I've seen some giant ones. If you are interested in seeing the solar flare, we added that to the chat room at bringmetolife.com/podcast. And if you're listening, in a few years, it's probably not there, but, trust us, it really did happen. So we have some sunspots on the sun right now. We have about 5 of them, and one of them, which is 2786, it's pretty big right now, but what we have here is a 30% chance of a common flare or a 5% chance of an M-class flare coming from that sunspot. I'm keeping it together. And then there's a 1% chance that it will produce an X-class flare, which is an extreme flare. But they do happen, and it's not gonna hurt the Earth yet. We still have a magnetic sphere, right? We're still protected. What if people are listening to this podcast and it's like 1,000 years from now? So who knows? Anyway, that is the solar flare update for all of you. I'm going to pass it over now to Shannon Chan, who's looking at me very interesting.
Silo just gets really excited about solar flares, and sometimes I'm just like, okay. There's so much happening that it's hard to keep up. All right, so we haven't done a reading in a while from our Language of Light deck, so I'm excited to read some cards for you. Pulled 3 cards, and the first one we got is the Soul Name, and it says, unlock the mysteries of your soul. You're about to receive the name of your soul, and your soul's name acts as a link between your inner and outer worlds, and it's okay to enable yourself to merge into your true, authentic wisdom and allow your everyday experience to create a life from your heart. You've been placed in this space to expand and to show your passion, and you're ready to awaken your heart and know that its absolute fullness is allowed. You are safe to discover, connect, and receive, and all your dreams and desires can be realized with an open heart, as long as you are focused on the divine will of all. Ask for and be open to receiving the name of your soul or your soul's mission, and it may arrive in a way that you don't expect. And when it comes to you, you'll know it because it feels authentic, and you can liberate your heart and soul because you should know that you're worth it. The next card is the Soul Writing card, which I think is cool because we were talking about a lot of channeled writing. It says, you are the author of your story. It's important to write a story that inspires you and doesn't let anyone else command your pen. The physical reality is temporary and it's forever changing. From one moment to the next, you can alter your reality by what you focus on, and the events and experiences of your life are multidimensional living art. You're creating your reality. Their purpose and form will shift as your perception and self does. You can view and adjust any stories from your past, present, or future if you let go of justifying or analyzing all of the events that have become your stories or stresses, and instead lift yourself into a new way of seeing them. Really look at this time and imagine that you are an angel, rising and connecting to the soul's light at the top of a pyramid. From this expanded view, you can see all of your stories and the different facets from a neutral position. A higher perspective can unveil and reveal what has been previously unknown. You may be surprised, shocked, or embarrassed that the story that you've identified with for so long is not what you actually thought it was. So don't stress, because this indicates that the stories are shaking loose and a healing is occurring. And you are doing so well, and remember that you are worthy and loved. The last card I have for you is Create Space. Make sure to make room for your dreams. Create a space for your new desires by learning how to be happy in the now. Accept yourself for how you are and know that not everyone is going to see you how you wish to be seen, but how you show up for yourself is how you create space. We all want certain things in our life to change, and it's up to each of us to do something about it, to not allow others to change our perspective of how we want to be. If you apply action from a position of truly wanting change, you will create evidence of that desire as it manifests into the change. And once you notice something you would like to change, take a breath and say thank you. Maybe you want to change how someone's treating you. Maybe you want to change how you're showing up or being seen, or just what you're receiving in exchange. recognize what you want to change, because that brings you more clarity. It gives you more clarity on what you do want and for your dreams and desires to be fulfilled. Do this and you'll begin to find balance through meditating and focusing on the moment. Or thinking of a person, animal, place, or situation that makes you smile. Focusing on that smile and that joy will help you stay balanced and feel that smile stretch through your entire body and relax. Know that all you desire is on its way. The only thing holding you back is your own perception that it's not. You have empowered your whole being because you don't need conditions to change. It's okay to feel joyous in the present. Remember that you can bathe in unconditional love and breathe it in and enjoy how good you feel. Just accept that. So that was pretty awesome reading. I really love this deck. Sometimes it gets kind of woo and love and light, but I think it's a message that we all need right now to embrace that we're creating our reality. And though there are a lot of things that feel like they're holding us back, we can breathe new life into it and create new traditions and new opportunities for ourselves.
Yeah.
One other thing was we just went through an eclipse, if you're listening in the now. And our friend BP said that we are kind of resolving and working through a lot of energy. I believe she said from June and July, and it's kind of coming full circle. So those of us that were feeling burnout are getting kind of like this burst of energy through the eclipse season. And really, it's not necessarily a time for a whole lot of new things, but instead of reflecting on what's been happening and showing up for ourselves in that kind of way and resolving things that have been kind of an open book for a while, so we can write the next story, the next chapter, the sequel.
Ooh, yeah, we're getting into the sequel, and that's where a lot of the magic happens. The first novel is kind of leading up to everything. It's building the characters, building the storyline, and then the magic. Beautiful. Well, I have enjoyed this episode. I hope if you guys are listening, you enjoyed it. If you want to see the kind of things I'm creating, I'm going to give another shameless plug to tell you guys, go check out shantasticshine.com/shopping. Got a really cool series of jewelry out right now. I also made some crystal wall hangings and just all kinds of cool things that I enjoy making with love and beautiful intention to bring all of you guys joy. So shantasticshine.com, or hit me up on any of the social medias. Awesome. Well, thank you all. I wish you adieu and say thank you and stay awake.
And shine on always. For many of us, spirituality is just the quest to find essence or true meaning and to really just connect with a higher consciousness.
Connecting with your spirituality is very important in this life. By becoming mindful of all of it, you can realize where you are and if that is leading you to where you want to go.
Listen to the little simple things, because it's those little simple things that are going to shift you vibrationally in such a way that will prepare you to become very intuitively minded and ready to step forward on the next part of your path.
I hope you can feel the love that's inside you, that's inside me, that connects us.
Thanks for shining on with us.